Good afternoon and welcome to our third installment of the Road to Reopening FLB Schools. I am Rick Emmerich, Superintendent here at the district, and along with me as usual is Dr. Sean Wolfram, our Assistant Superintendent. Over the past few months, all of us have kept a very close eye on the safety guidance related to COVID-19. Obviously, we want to keep our families safe, our loved ones, and everyone safe to slow the spread of the virus. As we stand today, the return to school is weighing heavily on everyone's mind as we draw closer to the August 25th date. In terms of the most recent advisement from the health officials here in PA, Secretary Dr. Rachel Levine has stated that we are going to stay positive and optimistic that there will be in-person school when schools open in August, and we'll be working toward that. Just yesterday, the CDC released guidelines for reopening with a heavy emphasis on getting students back into our classrooms. The guidelines laid out social, emotional, and mental risks of keeping students at home and outlines how to safely resume in-person instruction. These guidelines will be available on our district website. In terms of where we are today at FLB, we are still intending to reopen on August 25th. And in today's segment, Dr. Wolfram and I will be covering three key updates as we gear up to welcome our children back. First, we'll take a moment to review our plans and share the various mitigation measures we have in place to slow the spread of the virus within our schools. Secondly, we will review the governor's most recent masking order and discuss how we intend to meet those requirements when we return for in-person instruction. Next, we will provide a transportation update and discuss the district's school day schedules and how each has been modified to better support our mitigation efforts. Finally, we will cover the details related to our upcoming FLB Cyber Academy orientations. So let's get started. Again, our district's phased reopening plans, pending any further mandates or additional guidance from state or federal health officials, provides options for students to attend our schools for face-to-face instruction or an opportunity for our students to enroll in our district's FLB Cyber Academy. As we stand today, 86% of our families have enrolled their children in our brick and mortar option, and 12% will be entering into our Cyber Academy. For those students joining us for in-person instruction each day, our district is prepared for and has in place several mitigation measures that are geared to slow the spread of the virus. So what will students see and what can they expect when they arrive on day one? Please bear with me, as the measures we have taken are extensive in order to keep the health and safety of our students and staff at the forefront of our efforts. Upon arrival each morning, we are intending to screen each student to determine if they have a fever. This will be done using a touchless digital thermometer, and febrile students will be immediately referred to our school nurses for further evaluation. Again, as a reminder, we will also be providing an at-home health screening checklist for our parents, and we ask all of our families to complete this form before sending their child to school. In any case, if your child has a fever or is not feeling well, we ask that you keep them at home. Several hand sanitizing stations will also be placed in convenient locations and common areas in each of our school buildings. As all of us know, hand hygiene is one of the most fundamental measures we can take to slow the spread of the virus. You also see COVID-19 signs which cover these essential safety practices. Wear a mask, maintain physical distancing, and frequently wash your hands will be posted throughout each of our schools. Water fountains across the district will be disabled, and new water bottle filling stations will be available throughout the buildings. Again, students will be encouraged to bring a water bottle from home to remain hydrated throughout the school day. Classrooms are arranged to promote physical distancing in each instructional space to the greatest extent possible. Desks will be spaced apart and facing forward. Our class sizes have been reduced to levels that promote physical distancing to the greatest extent feasible. On some occasions, class sizes may require us to utilize larger spaces such as our LGIs, auditoriums, and cafeterias for classes. More on this later in our presentation. Building level traffic patterns have been established to reduce hallway congestion in between classes. Staggered dismissal procedures for each building have been set to again minimize student contact and reduce hallway congestion. Each classroom will be equipped with hand sanitizers as well as disinfectant wipes to ensure hands as well as work areas are cleaned before and after each class period. Please keep in mind that disinfecting wipes are at a premium and the supplies are limited through our vendors. That stated, we do have a plan to make homemade disinfecting wipes, and our local Kiwanians will be assisting our district in stockpiling supplies that will cover us for the first few months of the school year. Our custodial staff has been incredible in preparing our buildings, and each of our teams will be implementing aggressive cleaning measures during the day and after school to ensure we do our very best to sanitize each of our buildings. Breakfast and lunches will continue to be provided here at school for our students. As you may expect, physical distancing is required, and students may be eating in their classrooms as well as in the cafeteria with limited occupancy. Please stay tuned for updates as your building principals and Chef Tech will be making further announcements in the near future. We wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about masking. And as announced in our previous sessions, students will be issued a mask with the Mighty Bison logo to start the school year. And again, students will be required to have a face covering in their possession each day while they're at school. As you may be aware, the governor's most recent masking order requires masking in all instances where we are unable to physically distance at least 6 feet apart. Also in the order, students will be able to remove face coverings when they are eating or drinking when spaced 6 feet apart, seated at desks or assigned workspaces at least 6 feet apart, engaged in any activity at least 6 feet apart, or when wearing a face covering creates an unsafe condition in which to operate equipment or execute a task. As mentioned in the opening today, 86% of our students are intending to come back to school on August 25th for face-to-face instruction. Please understand that this number is higher than what was projected in our initial survey with our families. That stated, we are still extremely confident that our classrooms will be arranged to physically distance our students to the greatest extent possible. However, it is feasible that some of our class sizes, particularly at the middle school and high school, may not allow for a full 6 foot of separation between the students at all times. To address this issue, classes with larger enrollments, as I mentioned earlier, will be held in open spaces such as the LGI, cafeteria, auditorium, gymnasium, or even outdoors, weather permitting. In very limited classroom situations, it will be necessary that students wear a face covering as advised by the governor's order. Students in these classes will be provided frequent masking breaks. In addition, other measures may be implemented to include, but not limited to, plastic sneeze guards at student desks, as well as frequent hand washing breaks throughout the class period. As all of us know, the use of facial coverings requires a great deal of personal responsibility. Here at school, we will do our very best to teach our students appropriate face covering protocols, as well as effective hygiene and physical distancing. At home, we ask our parents to also emphasize the importance of these measures as we all share a common goal, slowing the spread of this virus. We are pleased to announce that our transportation and school day schedules have been finalized, and here with the details, I would like to turn it over to Dr. Sean Wolfram.
Thank you, Mr. Emmerich. Two of the most common questions that have been asked are about transportation and the daily schedule for our students. Thanks to the hard work of our transportation supervisor, Bev Clark, we're pleased to announce that we are only going to need 2 bus runs in the morning and 2 bus runs in the evening, one for the elementary and one for the secondary. A maximum of 2 students will be assigned in each seat, and the buses will load from back to front. Students will have assigned seats in the event that any contact tracing is needed to be done. Please know that face coverings will be required on buses as students travel to and from school. We're excited to be able to need only 2 bus runs at this point. This allows us to maintain daily time schedules which are similar to last year. For both middle school and high school students, their day will start at 7:35 a.m. and it will end at 2:12 p.m. Again, for middle and high school, their day will start at 7:35 and will end at 2:12 p.m. For Mill Village and Waterford students, their day will start at 8:45 a.m. and will end at 3:10. Again, for Mill Village and Waterford students, their day will start at 8:45 and will end at 3:10. Robinson students, your day will start at 8:35 and will end at 3 p.m. Again, Robinson will start at 8:35 and end at 3 p.m. Please note that our school days have been shortened to allow for staggered dismissals and getting our students home at a reasonable time. These times will be posted on our district website for parents so that you can begin planning for the start of the school year. Now, just a quick word about our upcoming Cyber Academy orientations. Over the next few weeks, those of you who have enrolled in our Cyber Academy will be receiving information from your brick and mortar school as to when you can stop in and pick up your materials for the upcoming years. We will also be inviting you to join us for an orientation where the two main goals will be to ensure that your students can access their Google Classrooms and also to meet their cyber teachers and to hear what you can expect during their online experience. Just a reminder, our Cyber Academy is going to be very different from the online learning you experienced this past spring. We're returning to our traditional grading scale, and the level of rigor and the expectations will be the same as if they were attending our brick and mortar schools. We want to be as flexible as possible and allow students to move back and forth between the Cyber Academy and brick and mortar schools. But again, we ask that take place only at the end of 9 weeks or at the end of a semester, unless there are extenuating circumstances. Now back to Mr. Emmerich.
Thank you, Dr. Wolfram. As we wrap up today's session, we want our families to know that the return to school this year will look and feel differently for everyone, our families and staff alike. Nevertheless, our educational mission and commitment to you and our children remains the same. We will make every effort to create a safe environment, work to ensure our families feel connected. We will continue to make sure our families feel connected regardless of their face-to-face choice in their instruction or whether they choose an online option. And we will also implement strategies necessary to allow your children to enjoy success here at FLB. That is all we have for today's episode of the Road to Reopening FLB Schools. As always, we encourage our families to submit questions along the way through the FLB community form, which is posted on our website. We wish everyone a safe and happy weekend. Thank you.